And welcome to our weekly look at Tiffin University football. Hi everybody, I'm Snyder, voice of the Dragons. To my left, head football coach, Mr. Cris Reisert. Coach, how are we doing today again?
Great to be back.
Absolutely, always good again. We say on a Monday after a win as the Dragons go on the road and get a victory down in Owensboro, Kentucky at Kentucky Wesleyan College. Longest road trip of the year. It doesn't matter where you're going in conference play, you go get a win on the road. It's a big win for your team.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a hard-fought win. Hats off to Kentucky Wesleyan. I think that they've really improved throughout the last couple of years and done a great job. And I thought that really posed a bunch of challenges for us. And it's proud of the way that we battled, not proud of the way of how clean we played, but proud of the way we fought, proud of the way we battled, and finding a way to go 1-0 one more week.
That's what it is. You don't play a clean game, but you still find a way to get the W. And like you said, it's 1-0 each week. So you take that W as, whether they're pretty or ugly, you take them, you move forward, and get ready for the next week. You got another big one coming this week. Well, let's first continue talking about the game at Kentucky Wesleyan. They had a lot of good, there's some good skill position players, much like your running game. They use multiple running backs. Yep. They have some good size with some of their wideouts on the outside. And they have some guys, especially the linebacking core, made a lot of tackles too.
They do. No, they pose a lot of issues for you on defense in particular. I've been really, the last from the spring and the fall, I've been super impressed with their defensive personnel and the things that they're doing schematically. I think they do a tremendous job and pose a lot of issues for you. Offensively, I think, with the nature of how they play, they play a space game, so I think the ability to match that in space and tackle an open space and cover guys. And I thought, for the most part, we did a really, really good job of kind of rising to the challenge. And I think, offensively, I thought as the game wore on, I thought our size and our mentality wore on them later in the game, and that was the difference.
I think PINNIX was the benefactor of that as well in the second half.
No doubt.
Different experience for me at that game because we're a little bit closer to the field than we normally are, and I had the fans right in front of me. So at first I was like, "Oh, do I need to be subdued a little bit? What should I do?" But it's great to interact with the fans. So there'd be a big play, and I see a dad look up at me with a big look in his eye, and I give him a little wink or something. So that's always a good part.
No doubt, it's a lot of fun. Part of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kentucky Wesleyan struck first. It was a fumble return. I couldn't really see what happened from my vantage point. There was a lot of people right in the middle of that fray. But Ramon Jackson picks it up, goes 26 yards on the return, and the Dragons are down at the that's the only score in the first quarter. 7-0 there and 7-0 at the end of the first.
No, we gave them one early offensively, and really just a missed timing, between the running back and the quarterback. And it was one of those plays where only two people knew that it had happened. And the other guys were blocking and thought it was a run, and the ball was on the ground, and Marcus, the running back, is tackled and can't get it. The kid picked it up and ran it into the house for a touchdown. And so never the way you want to start a game off.
No. It's so hard to overcome when you give up a defensive score.
When you give up a defensive score, I mean, there's stats for days of what that does to your percentage of winning a football game. And I think couple that with the fact that we didn't win the turnover margin in general,
right?
And the ability to win that game, I think, is fewer and farther. That every turnover you're down, and for one to lead to a touchdown. I mean, it was not a good way to start. And again, it was another thing we had to overcome. Well,
we bucked a few trends in that game. You mentioned two of them. Giving up a defensive score, percentages go way up in your favor to win. The turnover battle, percentages go way up. And we'll talk about the other one as we work our way through the game here now. 7-0, Kentucky Wesleyan leads at the end of the first quarter, and then they strike again in the second quarter, and your Dragons are down 14-0 after Peyton Peters, a 43-yard touchdown catch.
Yep. No, got beat on a post and made it 14-zip.
And then the Dragons, though, strike back. We mentioned his name earlier, DARIUS PINNIX, a 2-yard touchdown run. 4 plays, 70 yards, big chunk plays on the drive, only a minute 20 off the clock. And this was kind of, I think, what kind of really got Darius's wheels turning as he kind of rode the momentum from that early score throughout the rest of this ball game.
Yeah, no, I think it was a big play with Jalen Thomas that got us down there, right?
Yeah, he only had a couple catches in the game, but that one was like a 64-yarder to get you guys into field position, to get that momentum back on the Dragons side a little bit.
No, that was a big play, big catch, big throw to get us down into that range, and then the ability to get down there and execute and score for us is really, really important. Yep. One of our big sticking points is scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and we were 4 or 5 on Saturday. But that was one of those drives where we were able to do that and just finished with an inside run, and Darius finished physically, and it was 3rd and 2, and got the ball in, and that was, I think stemming the tide a little bit. I think you got a little bit of energy back after that one, and it was a good answer.
Well, here's the other trend we bucked. Christian Armby, the quarterback, a 2-yard touchdown run with 53 seconds left in the half. There's numbers for days about if you score in the final 2 minutes of the half, how your percentage chance of winning goes up. So at the end of the first half, Dragons are down 21-7 after that. So you go into halftime and you regroup with your kids.
Yep. Yeah, I think for us it was just kind of a refocusing. It wasn't schematic. It wasn't anything that needed to happen differently. We just needed to stay the course, and our energy had to get better.
Yeah, that was a part of it.
We had to play with more energy. We had to play with a little bit more enthusiasm and a little bit more passion, and it felt flat in the first half. And
I think the whole facility felt flat, a little subdued. I don't know if the weather was part of that or whatever, but it just felt a little subdued. But you could feel that energy definitely change in the second half.
And so for us, it was more about just manufacturing energy, and quite honestly, just answering the call, right?
Yep.
You couldn't have drawn up a worse first half, and the reality is, it's in the past, and finding a way to win a football game, and no matter how ugly it is, you got to go 1-0. And I thought our guys answered the bell.
Yeah, you got to respond to adversity. The Dragons faced plenty of adversity. Well, I'm having trouble today, Coach. Especially in the first half. I must have been talking too much on Saturday. And then we mentioned last week, record breaker quarterback Nick Watson breaks the all-time yardage record last week. He needed another touchdown pass this week to break the record. And Connor Muldowney is the lucky recipient. A 3-yard touchdown pass where Nick had to roll out to the right there on the goal line situation. Found Connor in the back of the end zone. Wasn't sure if it was in the corner from my vantage point again. I wasn't sure exactly if he had it. I thought he was in, but I wasn't sure until I saw the officials put his hands up in a 5-play, 60-yard drive in a minute and a half again, and now the Dragons are back within a touchdown again.
Yeah, no, it was a great play by Connor. He had kind of fought through some traffic and outran a guy to the back pylon, and it was neat to be able to get that to happen. We don't, you don't have a lot of touchdown tight ends. A lot of tight end touchdowns. So anytime you can get that done, you can celebrate a little bit. So I was happy for him, and it was a good job by Nick, kind of rolling out and buying time and creating and really allowing that to kind of come to fruition. So it was good to be able to get within a score and kind of, I think, again, just kind of stay around, stay around and continue to balance it out, and I think we did that with that score.
Second down and goal. Connor Muldowney back in the ball game. James Dean will check out in the second down play.
Second and goal. Ball on the 3-yard line.
Nick in the backfield with DARIUS PINNIX. Watson goes under center, turns, fakes a handoff, rolling with it. Rolling, still with it, fires back in the end zone. Is it a call? Touchdown it is, and there's the record. Nick Watson just set the all-time record in Tiffin University football. The touchdown pass to number 89, Connor Muldowney, and the Dragons back within a score. Well, Nick had to be patient there and wait. He finally found Muldowney in the back of the end zone for the record breaker. Now your all-time leader in passing touchdowns in Tiffin University history, Mr. Nick Watson.
Connor Muldowney, the tight end. I was watching the NFL pre-games yesterday, and it was tight end weekend or whatever in the NFL. So let's talk a little bit about the tight ends. You got a nice group, all of them with really good size, and some with a lot of experience. But talk about how important the tight end position is to the offense.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more undersung positions in football. You really think about the position. It's got to be heavily involved in the run game, right? Heavily involved in the pass game. Typically, your tight ends are playing a bunch of special teams, right? So you're asking these kids to do so many different things with limited individual time, right? Because you're working 30% of your time on run, 30% of your time on pass, and 30% of your time on special teams, and you're expected to be a master of all, right? So it really is a fun position. I think it's a fun position to coach. I think it's a fun position to have on our offense. And when you have good ones that can do a multitude of things, it certainly makes you more dimensional, and it makes you a lot more functional offensively, and it gives you an ability to scheme some people up.
Athletic tight ends that can run are matchup nightmares for the defense. It feels like, my gosh. So end of the third quarter, Dragons back to within a touchdown, 21-7, and now we'll move in to the fourth quarter. And Anthony Lowe, seemed like they thought maybe Anthony Lowe, they want to take the big plays away from Anthony in the game. Seemed like that was part of their focus on defense, but he still found a way in the fourth quarter early on, a 20-yard touchdown pass from Nick, 3 plays, 17 yards, coming in off of a turnover, I believe, if I remember correctly, 1:07 off the clock.
Yeah, no, it was off. We had gotten a short field. Anthony actually had a big return.
That's what it was. Yes.
Anthony had a big punt return. We got him backed up into their end zone, and Anthony had a big punt return and took it down to the 17.
That's right.
Yep. And then 3 plays later ended up going back to it. So it was kind of the drive of Anthony, right? But no, that was a tremendous throw and catch by those two guys, and it was on a third down, so it was a super big play. And one of those things of just guys making plays, and I think you really saw that late in the game where again, it wasn't always all that pretty, but we found a way and we made plays and just found a way to kind of separate ourselves.
Yeah, and you mentioned before, I believe he was punting from the back of the end zone. He had been pushed back a little bit, and I believe they snapped the ball from right about the 1 yard line.
Yeah, right at the 1.5 yard. I mean, it was right there.
How difficult is it for a punter to get that
That's
kick
tough.
away?
You figure you regularly have 14.5 yards of space, right? And so, you got to be a half yard from the back end line. So if the ball's on the 1, you're talking about being 10.5 yards. So you're 4 less yards of space, right? So, so you've got to uber protect it, right? And when you max protect it, then you're a bit unreliable in your coverage units, and we were able to take advantage of their coverage unit, and hence Anthony's big return.
Yep, you take advantage of the field position, put it in the end zone, and now after that, the Dragons give up another score. This time it's David Florence, a 22-yard touchdown pass. So credit Kentucky Wesleyan. They come back, maybe they take the lead there again, right?
Yeah.
A 7-point advantage, and the Dragons still got a little bit of work to do, but you're able to make up that ground here in a little bit.
Yeah, no, they kept swinging just like we did, and I think your hat goes off to them because they played super hard, and they did. They made it incredibly hard on us, and made us having to go answer the bell. And I think there was about a minute and a half when we had the opportunity to go down and do it, and had the chance to go down and get one more score in regulation to send it into overtime.
That's where having a good senior quarterback and some good senior leadership on your team pays dividends when you got to have it.
Yep.
End of the football game, fourth quarter, and it's Reggie Colson. We'll say his name again in a little bit. A 5-yard touchdown pass, 7 plays, 60 yards, and the Dragons tie it up. And after that, we are going to go to overtime.
Yeah, no, it was. We had mentioned Marcus Davis's name earlier, and he had a big screen
pass,
on that play. He had a big screen on that play, and
he had like 3 catches for about 60 yards in the game.
He did. Had a 45-yard play on that drive, and on some great blocking up front for our guys, and got the ball down. And Reggie, on kind of a Nick having to buy some time, and Reggie created, and Nick created, and they found a way to get in that front corner pylon, and found a way to get there and find a way to make it 28-28. And David Orlando hit the kick and balanced everything out, and here we go to overtime.
Overtime, Kentucky Wesleyan gets the football first. You win the toss. You always want to go on defense on the first time just so you know what you have to get. And they get the ball first and a turnover. A young man who made quite a few plays for you on Saturday afternoon. Talk a little bit about Kevin Hyde.
We were fortunate to win the toss and get to play on defense first. I think that's a huge advantage because you get a better gauge on where you're at, what you need to get, where you need to be, but no, it was a tremendous job by Kevin Hyde. Jermaine Wimpy actually made a really big play in that situation too, to create a situation for Kevin to get a pick. But it was a really well executed defensive play, and Kevin had 3 interceptions on the day.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've seen that in a football game.
That's hard to do. It's hard to get 3 in a season.
It really is, and for him to do that was just fun to watch. I mean, he absolutely showed up in a big way, and to do it in overtime, it was really, really cool to see. And so then the ball comes back to us, and it's up to us to find a way to put it home, and we did.
Well, I don't know what happened on the touchdown play, whether it was a perfect call for you guys or it was a miscommunication on the defense, but somehow you dialed up a play to get Reggie Colson open, and a 32-yard pass from Nick, and Nick put it right over his shoulder. He grabbed it and just strolled in the end zone, and the Dragons walk away with a 6-point win.
No, it was a well-executed play, and the guys, they did exactly what we asked them to do, and found a way to create a little bit of confusion on the defense side of the ball, and Reggie did a great job, and Nick made a great throw, and touchdown Dragons, and you get out of there with the road win. So one that we're certainly going to take.
Well, you gotta love the fact your team gets outscored 21-7 in the first half. Second half and overtime, you outscore them 27-7. It was time to go win the football game, get things done. Your kids were able to do that.
Yeah, no, we I think to score 4 scores in the second half and overtime against what I consider a really good defense was not an easy thing to do, and for our offense to be able to buck up and do that, I think was a big growth area for us. And then defensively, I think the way that we played in the back end, and because you're challenged constantly when you throw the ball all over the map.
Right.
We were playing a bunch of man coverage, and I thought our back end guys really rose up and met the challenge again and again and again. And for Kevin to get 3 picks and end it that way was pretty cool. So no, I think at the end of the day, Russ, it was we outlasted, outsurvived, right, and just kept swinging. I think our culture, shone through at the end of the game where. We didn't quit. We didn't give up. Our guys kept playing. We stayed together, right? And we found a way to get 1 more point. Ended up being 6 more than they did, and we went 1-0.
We mentioned Kevin Hyde had 3 interceptions. Latrell Robinson, Jermaine Wimpy each with 9 tackles in the game, and Charlie Cleveland with 1.5 sacks. The big names for you defensively. And on offense, we mentioned Darius Pinnix. He goes 27 carries for $125 and a touchdown. And you mentioned he got stronger during the game. I think he's gotten stronger as the seasons wore on, and he definitely got stronger during the game. And in the fourth quarter, they didn't want a whole lot to do with tackling that young man.
No, I think he's getting more confident. I think our line's getting confidence. I think we're really starting to run the ball with a little bit more fervor, which is important. I think you're seeing Darius, the way that he runs the football with the physicality and the way that we're built up front, where that third and fourth quarter really is when I thought that those guys really started to establish themselves, and we got to be able to do that earlier in the game too, and that's a point of emphasis. But I think you saw it, late in the game where our ability to lean on people really kind of took its course.
We also mentioned Jalen Thomas earlier, the 2 catches, 75 yards. The big one setting up the early score for the Dragons. And Anthony Lowe, 6 catches, 61 and a touchdown. And Reggie Colson, 3 for 49 and a couple touchdowns as well. So the Dragons come home with a big win over Kentucky Wesleyan. And you look at the standings now in the GMAC with Hillsdale going to Findlay and getting a win. There's a 4-way logjam at the top with the Dragons, Findlay, Hillsdale, and this weekend's opponent, Ohio Dominican. Should be a big and a fun one this Saturday down at Frost County.
Yeah, no, our conference, there's a lot of parity this year. And there's a lot of good football teams, and you have the 4 that are up top. But I mean, shoot, you've got good teams that aren't in the top 4 too, that are making week in, week out a really big challenge for everybody. And so, which is cool. I mean, that's a conference you want to be a part of. You want to have to play the best football week in, week out. I think our GMAC league is starting to garner some respect of, there's a lot of good football teams in this league and a lot of good football players, and it's a grind. So our job this week is to kind of regroup and refocus and find a way to put together a plan to go 1-0 this week against a really good Ohio Dominican football team.
Well, as you said, it's a 4-way tie, but everything's right there in front of you with Ohio Dominican this week and a couple big games to follow right after that. If you'd like more information on Tiffin University football, the best place to get it's at gotiffindragons.com. 4 o'clock kickoff this Saturday. We got a couple soccer games that we'll be covering early in the morning before that, and then you can catch all the live video at the Great Midwest Digital Network. We'll have that taken care of for you, and the radio at tudragonradio.com, as well as at Coast Country 100.9 WMJK. Coach, great job this week. Glad to hear you guys made it home safe, and let's do it again this weekend. Hard to believe that this is the last home game. How important is it let's just talk about real quickly before we wrap up. It's the last home game, so it's senior day. How important is it for your seniors to be able to get recognized on senior day, and for the young guys to be able to take another look at those seniors and maybe think to themselves, yeah, those guys really did do a lot of hard work, and now it's my turn to take over?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we've got some old seniors too. We've got guys that have been here for 4 and 5 and 6 and some of them 7 years, and so it'll be a great day to honor those guys and that have played pivotal roles in continuing to build the program. Have certainly put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into Tiffin football and into the school in general, and that love this place very much. So it'll be great to honor them, and it'll be great for our younger players to be able to celebrate them and celebrate all that they've done to leave Tiffin in a better place than when they got here. So we're super proud of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys I'm going to miss saying their names on Saturday afternoons as well. But congratulations to all of our Tiffin University seniors. Can't wait to see you on the field this Saturday for Senior Day. He's head coach Cris Reisert. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. We'll catch you next week on our look at Tiffin University football, the Coach Cris Reisert Show.